The political landscape of Nigeria quivers on the precipice of a seismic upheaval. Whispers turned into roar, confirming the audacious formation of a formidable opposition coalition. A united front decided, or designed rather, with one singular ambitious purpose, which is to unseat the ruling APC, the All Progressives Congress, in the impending 2027 general elections. Now, this is not a merely realignment, it's a convergence of forces previously thought irreconcilable, now bound by a shared desperation to reclaim power. It is a common sight to behold passers-by going to peep at a mob or drawn by the dancing or drumming of advertisers trying to push their products into the market space. In Nigeria, politicians seem to imitate these market realities as they gallivant from one political platform to another. Now, when it is not searching for an opportunity to vent political ambition, it is usually about serving the interests of paymasters or the godfathers for consideration. Today, the shifting dynamics or sands of Nigeria's political parties exist, where their union has never proved to reflect either unity or an agenda better or for better governance. Amadiawa AI, join us shortly on our coalition narrative concerning the recent developments with the ADC, the All Democratic Alliance. You're welcome back to the show. In recent days or just past weekends, it's all about the ADC, which has been trending in the political space in Nigeria. Now, first off, we begin with David Mark, who has actually resigned from the PDP after a solid 27 years to join the opposition coalition. Now, the very foundation of Nigeria's politics have been shaken to their core, if you will agree, based on observatory notes, in a development that has sent shockwaves across the nation, as Senator David Mark, a titan of the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, and a figure synonymous with its very existence, has dramatically severed ties with the PDP he helped found after an unparalleled 27-year tenure. Now, this is not merely a resignation, it's a seismic shift, like I said earlier on in the introductory phase, marking the end of an era and signaling a fierce new battle for the nation's future. Now, in a letter dated June 27, 2025, addressed to his Otupo Ward PDP chairman in Benue State, David Mark laid bare the agonizing reasons for his departure. He spoke for a party consumed by deepened internal divisions, these were his words, crippled by unresolved leadership crisis, again in his words, and torn apart by irreconcilable differences. Now, these are three phrases in which he stated by his backing his resignation rather. He painted a grim picture of a once mighty political force reduced to a shadow of its former self. Its integrity eroded and its reputation exposed to public harassment. Now, this was no impulsive decision, Mark asserted from his own statement, but the culmination of extensive consultations with family, political allies, and close associates, a testament to the profound gravity of his choice. For nearly 3 decades, we will agree that David Mark stood as an unwavering pillar of the PDP. He was there at the genesis in its 1998 formation, a founding member when it transitioned into the formidable political party which brought in its first leader, Olusegun Obasanjo. Now, his loyalty was legendary, an unbroken chain of allegiance in a political landscape notorious for its fluidity. Now, unlike countless others, Mark never for one day decamped or defected, remaining steadfast through triumphs and tribulations of the party. His record of unwavering commitment made him an anomaly, a symbol of inconsistency in an ever-shifting political tide or turbulence. Now, his resignation and subsequent movement to another political party, of course, the coalition, is astonishingly his first recorded defection from the PDP since its inception. Now, might I say, these are people who actually understand what it means to be ideologically backing on a party. Now, Mark's political journey within the PDP was nothing short of illustrious. He entered the Senate in 1999, rising through the ranks to become the revered Senate President in 2007, a position he held with distinction, flawlessly. He served people of the Benue Central Senatorial District for an impressive 16 years, securing mandates in 1999, 2003, 2007, 2011, and 2015. Now, his departure leaves an undeniable void in the party he once commanded. But the story does not end with his exit from the PDP. In a move that reveals this true magnitude of his political realignment, Senator Mark has declared his next political destination. The burgeoning of this bourgeoisie opposition coalition, may we address it in that manner. This revelation comes hot on the heels of the significant meeting where Mark, alongside other prominent figures like former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Sule Lamido, Aminu Tambuwal, Lyle Moke from Cross River, and Babangida Aliyu, passionately called upon Nigerians to unite on a broad frontier aimed at unseating President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. Now, coming down a dramatic note, David Mark's defection is more than a news item. It is a profound declaration signifying a veteran leader's conviction that the PDP, as it currently stands, cannot fulfill the nation's urgent needs which are pressing. His decision to join the opposition coalition injects a potent dose of experience, gravitas, and strategic insight into the unfolding political drama, settling the stage for a monumental struggle for power in the years to come. The political landscape has been irrevocably altered and the battle line has actually been drawn with this recent defection. Now, moving on to other coalition observations, we have Aregbesola, of course, alongside Mark, taking over the ADC leadership, which is, of course, the eyeing the 2027 presidential election. Now, still on coalition observations, in the very foundation of Nigeria's political establishment, the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, has dramatically unveiled a new interim leadership, signaling an audacious bid to redefine the nation's political future. Now, this is not merely a reshuffle, or my way call it a rejig. It is a declaration of war on the status quo, a bold challenge to the entrenched powers of the ruling APC and the beleaguered PDP, which of course are currently locking horns as we speak. The revelation began in Abuja following a high-stakes closed-door conclave of key stakeholders. When the meeting finally opened, the revelation was actually stunning, as former Senate President David Mark, a towering figure in Nigerian politics, just as I've earlier described, has been appointed the interim national chairman. Now, beside him, equally electrifying to send goosebumps down on politically aware citizens, stands Rauf Aregbesola, former governor of Osun State and an estranged chieftain of the APC, now positioned as the party's national secretary. I beg your pardon. Now, furnishing further this formidable force is Bolaji Abdullahi, a former minister of sports and a one-time PDP spokesperson, who takes on the critical role of interim national publicity secretary. Now, this is no ordinary political team. This is a carefully calculated assembly of seasoned political gladiators in the arena, each bringing a unique blend of national recognition, strategic acumen, and the capacity to galvanize a nation yearning for change. Now, their mandate is clear: to re-engineer the ADC from its roots, forging it into an unstoppable third force, a credible alternative on the path to the 2027 general elections. Now, we might be having four horsemen now, apart from the APC, the PDP, the SDP. We might now be having a fifth horse, might I put it that way, the Labour Party and the ADC. Now, the return of David Mark to the political front lines after years of relative silence, if we may address it that way, is particularly truth-telling. Now, on a descriptive note, David Mark, a retired military general and one of Nigeria's longest-serving Senate presidents, he embodies a blend of discipline, experience, and a quiet authority that commands respect, if you will agree. His presence at the helm of affairs immediately lends gravitas and a sense of purpose to ADC's ambition. But it is the inclusion of Rauf Aregbesola that truly ignites or sparks people's imagination. Now, a very political strategist, I'm talking about Rauf now, Ogbeni, as he's fondly called, once a protege of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has transformed into a vocal critic, a figure poised to channel the growing discontent of the APC into the new vehicle of resistance, which is the ADC. His appointment is a clear signal that the ADC intends to become the rallying point for all who feel alienated, disenfranchised, or probably simply disillusioned by the internal wrangling and perceived failures of the dominant parties. A titan of Nigerian politics again and a former Minister of Interior, Aregbesola has dramatically, through a rumbling political earthquake in Nigeria's fractured political landscape, seized the reins of the ADC, declaring his audacious intent to forge a formidable path towards the 2027 presidential race. This is not, as it looks, your normal or regular leadership change. It is actually a declaration of war against the fabric of Nigeria's political decay. Now, this is back in a speech that ripped through the complacency of the establishment, launched by a blistering, no holds barred indictment of the nation's dominant parties. His words delivered the weight of conviction and painted a stark picture of a political arena devoid of substance. Now, in his words, our political landscape is plagued by parties that lack ideological depth. They are empty shells merged with splitting not over principled policies but over ego, control, and access to power. Now, this was not just criticism, it was a scathing expose of the charade that has long masqueraded as governance. But Aregbesola's pronouncement was more than just an attack. It was a solemn vow to chart an entirely new course for the ADC, one rooted in an unwavering commitment to ideas, values, and tangible development. As Nigeria's national secretary, he claims he will work to build a party with a clear ideological compass, committed to democracy, social justice, rule of law, and national development. Now, his voice resonating with resolve, a party that listens and works for the people, not only during elections, but every single day. We remain hopeful. Now, this is a promise dismantled by the old guard and erects a political structure building the bedrock of public service, which of course is a mantra we've always been hearing. This pronouncement, delivered with a strategic precision, immediately drew a blazing and red line between the ADC's nascent identity and the corrupting morass of corrupt political powers. It was a direct challenge to the ruling APC, where an internal grumbling, elite betrayals, and corrosive controversies of zoning continue to threaten its very cohesion. Aregbesola, a man who understands the inner workings of power, is positioning the ADC as the unattained or untainted alternative for the people out there. The former minister further stressed that the ADC, under his vigilant watch, would not merely offer rhetorical comments or remarks, but now the new era will promise decisive action, pledging to implement policies that directly confront Nigeria's problem or agonizing challenges, the relentless grip of insecurity, and the crushing burden of unemployment, not leaving out the tragic decline of public education and the ever-present fragility of national unity. This is a battle plan, not just a manifesto, might I say. The timing of this seismic announcement is, without a doubt, time-telling, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu finds himself besieging by an escalating torrent of economic, socioeconomic, and political pressure. In this crossable crisis, opposition parties will be scrambling, desperately attempting to reorganize. Not leaving out the PDP, they are still reeling from the post-2023 internal implosion, grappling with a fractured national leadership and a hemorrhage of defections. Now, against these backdrops, which I have just outlined, of national distress and political disarray, the ADC is now positioning itself with dramatic intent. It aims to become the very nucleus of a broader or more potent coalition, a magnet for both the disillusioned youth yearning for change and the elite politicians seeking for alternative platforms, one unattained by decades of broken promises and failed leadership. Aregbesola, famed for his unparalleled grassroots mobilizations skills, adds a layer of seriousness, a gravitas rarely witnessed in Nigeria's often facile, or will I say, mirage opposition space. Join us in the next phase of the show on the ADC Coalition Narrative. I'm Odiawa AI. You're welcome back to the show. Still on Coalition Talks. Again, we have the Northern PDP, who have actually settled on the ADC as a preferred coalition platform. Now, the air crackles with anticipation, no doubt about that. Now, after weeks of hustled deliberations, of strategic whispers echoing through the hallowed halls of power, or Northern halls of power to be specific, the momentous decision has actually been unveiled. The long-awaited verdict is in the African Democratic Congress, the ADC. The North has finally spoken, and they have chosen the preferred coalition platform, a formidable vessel for the proposed opposition group, charting its course towards the tumultuous waters of the 2027 general elections. Now, might we agree The South can speak, the West can speak, the East can speak, but the North, they have the final say. Now, for far too long, the political landscape of the North has been a crucible uncertainty. Opposition politicians, wary of the current dispensation, grappled with a monumental dilemma: to align with an existing political structure or to rather endure the tortuous wait for the birth or resignation of a completely new entity. The stakes were impossibly high as the path forward shrouded in a mist of conjecture and strategic gambits. The initial whispers suggested a fragmentation, splintering into three distinct parties, each destined to operate independently until the electoral umpire INEC cast its shadows across the nation with a notice for the next electoral cycle in February 2026. But destiny, it seems, had a different narrative. Just this weekend, last Saturday, the very ground beneath the feet of the political observers shifted. Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, the former governor of Sokoto State and the formidable senator representing Sokoto Central, convened a crucial consultative meeting. The atmosphere was charged, thick with the weight of consequence. Typically, PDP stakeholders, their faces etched with the gravity of the moment, edged in no-holds-barred discussion, dissecting the very fabric of their future, the pros and the cons of the aligning of the ADC or the All Democratic Alliance were laid bare. Each opposition scrutinized under the harsh glare of political pragmatism and national aspirations. The roll call of attendees underscored the sheer significance of the gathering. Prominent PDP chieftains, including the party's National Organizing Secretary Umar Bature and the steadfast state chairman Aliu Guruyu, who were actually present. Their very presence validated the gravity of the consultation, signaling a consensus born not of convenience but of deep-seated convictions. Now, as the northern political axis trembles with its profound realignment, a resonant call echoes from neighboring Kebbi states. Their contemporaries of the Sokoto leaders declared, with an unyielding voice, the absolute imperative for the Northwest geopolitical zone to march into any chosen party as a unified, indomitable bloc. The message was unequivocal. The impact to this crucial zone or important zone could only be truly felt, its voice truly heard, its demands truly met, and by the APC if it spoke with an unprecedented singular voice. Dr. Ibrahim Mera, the resolute KB state chairman, underscored the dire necessity of this united political front. He spoke not of political gain but of national salvation, asserting that only such a formidable alliance could rescue Nigeria from the clutches of the APC's pervasive misgovernance. His words were a clarion call to arms, a solemn pledge that Kebbi State stood fully committed to the arduous yet vital or significant task of building a strong platform, bricks by bricks, painstakingly from very bottom up. But this grand alliance, born of necessity and foresight, has not been without its detractors, its doubters, and its purveyors also inclusively of misinformation. Suggestions have it that circulations in certain quarters, insidious whispers attempting to undermine this strategic consolidation, claiming that the mere application of the registration of the All Democratic Alliance has somehow vitiated the coalition's audacious move to pull political forces together under one single, indivisible umbrella. Mr. Nwosu, however, dismissed these suggestions with the swift, decisive stroke of a master strategist, with his words cutting through the noise, leaving no room for ambiguity. He laid bare the stark, irrefutable reasons why the ADC and not the fledgling ADA. Might you recall just last week there have been discrepancies as to what name to actually adopt as an emerging coalition to confront the ruling APC. Now, this stands as a chosen vessel for the titanic political force, the ADA or the ADC. Now, while the ADA was a party in search of recognition, a phantom in the making, his voice, according to Nwosu, ringing through conviction, he states that the ADC was ready, tested, and trusted, probably verifiable, as an existing political party that has been widely acknowledged in almost all the geopolitical zones of the country. Now, the contrast could not be starker, as the message has been clear, as I've just stated, according to his words. He painted a vivid picture of the ADC's enduring strength and unwavering legitimacy, as it has been a long-standing, established, nationally recognized party and never been deregistered. It's a party in good standing and has always fielded credible candidates at the national and state levels. Now, this is not just a party built on sand, but on a solid rock, forged in the crucible of countless elections and also political battles. Now, then the devastating precision dismantled with the flimsy facade of ADA, according to Wosu. Quite on the contrary, in his words, the ADA is an attempt to register an entirely new party. The ADA's application, if I recall correctly, according to him, is one out of well over 100 applicants still pending before INEC. ADA will have to cross the high hurdles of registration to get to where ADC is currently in now, he added, exposing the perilous, uncertain path of the ADA which it currently faces. The coalition, he implied, could not afford to hitch its wagon to such an unproven, precarious entity. Now, addressing the recent changes in the leadership within the ADC, the governorship hopeful acknowledged that the inherent dynamics of politics, leadership changes are routine or would be routine, as long as they conform to established norms, stressing that with an air of profound conviction that the interests of the powerful new coalition are best served by the new leadership, a leadership poised to navigate the turbulent seas of Nigerian politics and steer the ship with its alliance towards undeniable triumph. Now, on a conclusive note, the chessboard is set and the pieces have begun to move, with the pawns already being sacrificed. The Northern PDP leaders have spoken and their voices echo through the halls of power, declaring that the ADC is the chosen vanguard for a new political front for the new era. Now, prepare yourselves, for the political landscape has been irrevocably altered and the tremors of the monumental alliance with the activities will be felt across the nation. Political observers are not left out, as they are all emerging unanimously, observing that the ADC strategy is a masterstroke designed to consolidate frustrated political actors across entire spectrums, regional, religious, or ideological lines. This is a bid to create a single purposeful front, a powerful counter-narrative to the prevailing political storm. The show has been Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. And I've been your host on this Coalition Talk, Odiawa AI. Thanks for watching.